Hello, everyone. It's once again Kwame Gonza here. It's your brother Kwame Gonza, the Pan Africanist. So we could not sleep today without bringing the updates of what happened with the protests today in Nigeria. We have followed this ever since it began. So we are bringing you update number 5. Today is the fifth day of the protests, and therefore we will touch just briefly on the key highlights of the highlights. We'll touch on the highlights of the protests, and of course with a few comments on what happened. So what basically happened since yesterday, when President Tinubu came out and gave his speech, which speech, of course, the organizers of the protest came out to respond to. The organizers of the protest came out and responded to President Tinubu's speech because simply because it was not addressing the real issues that are affecting the Nigerian people. That is one of the key reasons why the organizers of the protest came out to respond to President Tinubu's speech. Now, that is number one. So at the end of their press conference, which they called after President Tinubu's speech, they then called on the protesters to come out in numbers. They called the protesters to come out today in numbers. It was yesterday when they called the press conference. So fortunately, the protesters showed up. Now, there is a couple of things that we have noticed, with the protests today, which, of course, call for our notice. We need to note them. There's a couple of things that happened that we need to take note of. And one, the people came out in huge numbers. All right, people came out in huge numbers compared to the second day and the third day and the fourth day. People came out in huge numbers. Now, what did this signal? This signaled that President Tinubu's speech did not make the impact they intended it for. President Tinubu's speech did not have an impact, as the government had intended to. As we know, the government was using a lot of tactics, a lot of divisive tactics in order to break up the protesters. Intimidation. They used the hooligans. For example, yesterday we saw hooligans who were chasing people who came to protest, in Abuja. And we saw different tactics, intimidation, using police to bring out the police and even the military in some cases. So the government, of course, used a couple of tactics to intimidate them, but the people came out in huge numbers. They heed the call of the organizers of the protest yesterday, who had a press conference to which one of the mainstream, the Nigerian mainstream media platforms like Arise News was present. Therefore, it shows that people saw the news and they decided to come out. Now, that is number one. People came out in huge numbers today compared to the second, the third, and fourth day, which was yesterday. It shows you that people, are still angry. And of course, the speech itself, which Tinubu gave, angered the people because it was not addressing the concerns of the people. Number two that we noticed is that people came out in huge numbers with Russian flags. We saw more Russian flags this time than before. That is one thing that has to be noted, that we saw more Russian flags than before, because on the third and the fourth day, there was some Russian flags which were shown within the protesters. Within the protesters, there was Russian flags which were shown. Now, today, which is the fifth day, a lot of people now came out even much more fearlessly, okay? Because there was rumors within the government circles about the Russian flags. And of course, they suspected that maybe the Russians have infiltrated or something, because the colonial government of Tinubu knows that they represent colonialism. So they are scared, all right? Even though they have the military and have everything, they are of course scared about what could happen. They don't know where this thing could end. That is why they have applied all types of tactics to try to calm down the protest, intimidation, like we said, bribery. Even they used the bribery to some extent, that they were trying to bribe the people who were going to do the protests. So these are the things that we are seeing that happened. And of course, the Russian, the Russian embassy itself came out to comment on this. And the other thing that we saw today, of course, that was key is that the people came out, but also the Department of State Services, which is DSS in Nigeria, came out. I think this is like internal security within the country. They came out and started arresting the people who they say they suspected that they are the ones who sew the Russian flags. Okay, so they arrested them and they are in custody. So these are the key, happenings for today, which happened at this particular protest that is still ongoing. So we are still watching to see what will happen today. Of course, we will update you on what the Russian embassy said, because the Russian embassy in Nigeria also came out to react to what happened. Okay, it came out to to react to what happened during these protests. So that will come later on in the updates that will come probably tomorrow. We will update you on what the Russian embassy in Nigeria said regarding the protesters and the fact that these protesters came out with the Russian flag. Of course, this connotes something, it shows something, and we have analyzed this extensively on our extended analysis of the protests that are going on there, with our invitation of a sister from Nigeria, Sister Choma. So people can go out and watch the extended video which we did today, which has a full analysis of what is happening on the ground. This fact that people were able to come out with the Russian flag, of course, connotes something. It shows something about the consciousness of the people within the country. They did not just come out with the Russian flag, but also they came out. They have been coming out with a lot of placards which they are carrying up, which have to do with the condemnation of capitalism as a system, the condemnation of neoliberalism as a system, and also the recognition of the need of a socialist state in Nigeria. So all these things, and the fact that they are putting up the Russian flag, they point to the fact that the consciousness of the people, in Nigeria has risen, or even the consciousness of the African people has risen, and it looks like it cannot be held back anymore. Therefore, they are almost waiting for someone to take on the role of leadership within the state itself, within the Nigerian state itself, within the revolution itself. It shows you that the people are tired of the capitalist system, the neo-colonial system, of course. They are tired of the colonial government, which is led by Tinubu, and of course, also the ruling class in Nigeria, who are bent on protecting it. Now, last but not least, of course, people like the poet, the writer, poet Wal Soyinka also came out to comment and condemn, of course, Tinubu's speech. That is another important update that happened today. He came out and condemned the speech, and he said that the speech is empty. It does not address the interests of the people and what people are calling for. And the fact is that Tinubu used a strong language which speaks to further militarization and intimidation of the people, and using of tear gas, against the people who are asking and have really legitimate demands. So that is another thing which we saw. Last but not least is that we saw also that the ruling class in Nigeria, which has been calling for the stoppage of the demonstrations and condemning and using divisive language and the divide and conquer tactics of dividing the people who want to demonstrate, also has softened. Its voice is going down a little bit. The fact that people like Wal Soyinka have come out, to speak up. Now, this ruling class, which has been condemning the protesters, the voice has started dropping down. That is one other thing that we have noticed about these protests, which are ongoing currently, and they are, about to resume tomorrow, as the protesters' interests have not been, of course, addressed. So that is another thing that we have noticed, that the voices of those who were opposed against the protests are dying down. they are slowly dying down. And even the senators within Nigeria who have been using a strong language and have been putting up curfews, within the country and stopping people from going out. They have been declaring curfews. All of them, we are seeing also that they have softened their voices. Those guys have softened their voices, and they are saying, one of the senators actually came out and said that he's working very hard to meet the demands of the protesters. So these are the things that we are seeing. So it shows you that such protests as these, they require persistence if we want to cause change on the African continent, and of course in the other parts of the global south. Today we saw that the Bangladesh, I think minister or prime minister or president was, he ran out of the country because of the pressure of the people. People have put a lot of pressure in Bangladesh until their president, left the presidency and ran out of the country. He ran to India, and he's on his way, she's on her way. She's on her way to Britain. That is the news that is coming on, right now, that the Bangladesh leader, people put a lot of pressure. They protested and put a lot of pressure. A lot of course, people died, sacrificed, because this is part of the struggle. This is part of the struggle. So it shows you that if you insist enough, okay, it is called the test of the wheels. Okay, that is what Nkrumah called it when it comes to positive action, because this is part of positive action, non-violent protest. But non-violent protest doesn't mean that people are not going to lose their lives. Of course, people still lose their lives. You saw during even the civil rights movement that people lost their lives. Even in Bangladesh, where they have, the leader has run out of the country today, just today, a few hours ago. The Bangladesh leader, whether it is a prime minister or president, she has run out of the country. She's in India right now, and she's on her way to Britain. So you can see that enough pressure and persistence bears results. And that is what we are also seeing in the case of Nigeria, that they will use all intimidations. As Nkrumah said, they are testing you to see whether you are determined, whether you have enough determination, to insist that you must get what you deserve. You must take back your country. And that is how, of course, imperialism is. That is how colonialism is. It will test you to see whether you are ready to take back what belongs to you. So thank you very much, everyone who is out there. Thank you very much. Lion rule the jungle without fear. Of course, thank you, child of God. This was a short one, of course, just to update you on what happened on the 5th day of the demonstrations, and of course to bring you, the analysis of what happened there and what it means. Of course, please share the video and like the video. We are 21 on here. Please, all of you, like the video. Kindly like the video and share it with others. Invite others to the platform. The platform is becoming much more vibrant. Kindly share with others and invite them to the platform. Thank you so much for being part of this platform. We love you very much. You guys have been very supportive of Connect Africa, and we appreciate you. We don't take you for granted. We don't take it for granted that you keep watching this platform. And of course, we will also continue to put in as much as we can, not only to bring you the updates of what is happening on the African continent, but also to play a part ourselves. We are playing a lot of things on the ground that we are doing, which we don't want to mention. Of course, this is media space, it's public for everyone to see. But those things, as we have these discussions between us, between you and us, you guys who are there watching, of course, we can then, talk and then tell you, of course, what we are doing in the background. But there's a lot of other things that we are doing in the background. For example, the ACAP. I think many of you may not know what ACAP is, but it's the Africa Continental Unity Party. That is one of the organizations that we are building strongly, to carry on the revolution, the next phase of the revolution. And that is why you are seeing that is attached to my name on the side there. It means the Africa Continental Unity Party. It has a website. You can even check it out. So those are some of the works that we are doing in the background. So I thank you very much, everyone. Just wanted to let you know that we are not sitting, we are not just on media platforms talking, but we recognize that the media also is very important. It's a very important tool that we cannot take for granted, because it is used as a tool for mobilization. We have seen imperialism use this tool for mobilization. We have seen the United States and the imperialistic countries using the media to mobilize the consciousness of their people. For example, the Iraq war, they used the media to mobilize it. When they wanted to overthrow the government in Ethiopia, they were mobilizing, all right? They mobilize the consciousness of the people, they mobilize the people so that the people can support. So we as revolutionaries also, we cannot take the media for granted. So we use it as a tool. So I just wanted to put that in there, that the fact that we are here, talking about these things, it doesn't mean that we don't have what we are doing in the background to advance the revolution and the unification of Africa and its total liberation, of course. Thank you so much once again. Thank you for the support. I do appreciate you. We appreciate you with the Mahlet. Connect Africa appreciates you. We thank you very much. And like I said, come again, and I will see you, later. Thank you so much.